So we're joined here by David Bell, the owner of the Private Dining Club. So welcome.
Thank you, Reg. Glad to be here.
So why are dinners so important?
Networking is a massive part of any business, and I came up with the idea for PCD when I was working in a bank, trying to make new contacts. And we just found that getting together with people over dinner just had a different dynamic to the traditional networking events you might go to in the industry.
Because out there at the moment, what would be the comparisons? A typical conference, 2 days, 15, 20 speakers, panel discussions, and the only time you're networking is a short break or lunch.
People are busy, so you know, if you're going to commit 2 days to a conference, you've got to make sure you're going to meet the right people. And our events are structured so that people do make the right connections and have the time to explore business opportunities that exist. So, the traditional competition is the trade shows and also the events that individual firms might put on. But we represent the whole spectrum of the industry. And that's something we're doing that's different.
And you've done how many of these private dining events now?
We've been running in London for 10 years, but on an international scale, we've been running about 3 years, and are adding new cities all the time. So we're dynamically growing and opportunistically going into different places.
So what type of locations are we looking at the next 12 months?
Before the end of the year, we've got an event in Hong Kong, in Cape Town, in Jersey, in London. Start of next year, we'll be out in Mumbai, in Singapore. So it's the full spread of global cities.
So how did it all start? With you're a family business as well, husband and wife team?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did it all start?
We didn't set out to set up a family business for sure, but PCD grew out of the fact I was working in a bank, I was trying to network, I was putting on small-scale events, and the concept of sitting down for dinner and building out connections just really took off. It took off at a point when I was going to Switzerland quite a lot, seeking to build my network over there, and I used the dinner platform in order to expand that network. Went to other cities and it really took off from there. So 3.5 years ago, I left the bank I was working for and set up PCD. So
you went from corporate to being a first generation entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So viewers watching this is how it starts. This is how it starts. A passion turns into a business.
And my wife was just coming back from having our son, our second child, and was looking around at different options, and we were getting busy, and I was like, well, you should come and work together and help me out. So it was out of a kind of need, not out of a big plan to create an empire.
So if a husband and wife is watching this and working together, give us some tips on how to make sure it does work successfully with a husband and wife team, because you're running a business. You've got the home life as well, children. How do you balance all this out?
I suppose we've got different skill sets. So me and my wife both trained accountants, but she is very much into the numbers. She's much more analytical than I am. I'm more into relationships, people, and using the knowledge I built in the tax world to go out and create value for people. So it's a good team because she brings something different to the party. She understands the business inside out, and I respect the way that she thinks about what we're doing. But the boundaries are difficult to set because you're trying to get things done. You're very busy, but at the same time we've got an 8-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, and trying to look after them too. So there's a lot of pressure on time. But I think it's about coming together with the right blend of skills, having a respect for each other. Knowing where. So
what are the ground rules then to make sure?
Well, I think it's just having an understanding of the pressures that other party is under. So if we need something to get done, but Soph's got to do something at home, then maybe I could help out with that thing, so to allow her to get out and do the things she needs to do in the business. So it's about compromise.
If my wife is watching this, I'm dead. Okay.
But so, when you work, say, in a professional job in a bank or an accountancy firm, you generally your sole focus is that, and your spouse kind of goes along for the ride. Whereas running a business together, you have to, while I take the lead, we do have to give and take much more.
From an entrepreneurial perspective, what are some of the challenges? First few years of building this business. So again, if someone's a young entrepreneur, next-gen entrepreneur, listening to this. What advice would you give them? And especially with your experience now looking back,
Yeah.
What are some of the things the first few years to consider?
I mean, for us, the difficult thing, I suppose, has been, taking risk has been necessary to push out, to go into new locations. We found our niche through experimentation and working out what our customers really want through offering different things. Some of those things didn't work, and so we dropped them or we fine-tuned them. We take the feedback on board and then we grow from there. So I think it's listening to your customer, and in the first few years we were presenting a lot of ideas to companies to see what looked most attractive, and we built on that, as any entrepreneur does, follows the experience of what works. So I think it's like, be ready to experiment with inbounds, get a dialogue going with your customer, present options, and then put your back into delivery.
Experiment, communicate with your customers.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
I think also for us, it's having skin in the game. So when someone books an event with us, they know that they get my full effort into it. It's not simply a big conference company, you write a check and you say, thanks very much, and see you at the event. It's a very active, proactive relationship where we take ownership of quality execution on every level.
So with the experimentation, what were some of the things that didn't work as you were testing them out?
Well, I think it's trying to work out different forums. So we worked out whether we were looking at whether we could do have a training product, and we worked out that actually it wasn't what people wanted, was more like in-house training rather than training sessions that we offered out to a broader people, because we hadn't realised that if competitors come together in the same room, they might not want to share secrets that they would be happy to share privately. So then we worked out, okay, well, what we need to do is offer an in-house product. So what I'm saying is you just kind of adapt. What you think people want is not always the case.
Sometimes we can assume, can't we? We think what we've got is really good, but it's not what the customer wants.
Yeah. You've got to have the confidence to go out with an offer and commit to it. So sometimes, you can't always ask your customer to detail everything, but where they're telling you something, you've got to pick up and be aware of that information.
Tell us more about the events. So you've done hundreds of these dinners.
Yeah.
Typically, what type of people attend? In case someone's watching this, we'll make sure the details are below on how to find out more about the Private Dining Club.
So our customer base is professionals who deal with high net worth clients in a range of capacities, from tax and legal services, banking, property, insurance, a full gambit of services. And we work with a lot of companies that ultimately provide products to high net worth international wealthy families, but do so through other service providers. So we put on dinner events for 100 to 200 guests. So they're substantial events, but they're not conferences and trade shows of thousands of people. The reason why people like the events is they've got an intimacy, but there is a real energy in the room. So people come together with an agenda to network. People go up to other guests, not with an open agenda, with an idea to explore what they do and where there's synergy to work with someone else.
People are not shy at your events, are they? I went to one of David's events in London, and it starts off with the first hour with cocktails, networking, with pre-dinner.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 people at a table. Yeah. Cards are coming out. Everyone's wanting to know what you do. How can I help you? Which was really nice. Yeah. Not people who are just taking. Yeah. You get that a lot, don't you, in some networking events. People have got thousands of cards with them, and it's very selfish. Or what can I take from everybody? Here it's about, what do you do? Maybe I can connect you with someone. So, I mean, that's down to you. You've created that culture.
We set the tone from the top, and that's the way I operate, and I've always operated in business to try and help people on their journey. And by creating that value for other people, it sometimes creates the opportunity for you to get something from that person, but you don't do it with that in mind. You're doing it with a very long-term view, that if you're connecting quality people, opportunities will arise. The structure of the evening is a networking reception, as you say, that allows people to meet and mingle. We do a seated dinner where I use my knowledge of the industry and the people to get an interesting mix on the tables.
Tell us about that. How do you do that? I mean, the one I went to, 10 other people on the table. How did you decide? Let's put these pieces together and connect these 10 people. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, there was on your table, there was a multifamily office who I knew was a regular visitor in Dubai, John Clifford. He came. He is a quality person that I was immediately thought of him when I was putting the plan together with you in mind. So I do know the customer base fairly inside out, and that because that's the strength of our business, and I try and do my best to do the research around the delegate list to make sure that if particularly people who have travelled in, so if people have travelled to London to Dubai for a dinner event that we're hosting, I want that person to go back to London having had a fantastic experience and met some great people. So that's where I put do my homework through social media, through LinkedIn, through knowledge of those people and having met them face to face and had a coffee with them and found out about their objectives. And that's how we create value. So yeah, the seating plan is done with a lot of care. To try and make sure that people enjoy the event and see it's money well spent, because that's what it's about.
Moving on to another area, how do you link online networking with offline networking? And some tips for the viewers on being a good networker, because you're a great networker, you're a great connector.
Sure. I think the online element is crucial because my members are generally travelling internationally. They're busy professionals. They might come to Dubai or Hong Kong or somewhere else a couple of times a year. So in between those visits, they need to keep visibility with the professionals that they're meeting here, or contacts and clients that are perhaps using LinkedIn, but really LinkedIn is about keeping your visibility with other professionals. So if people have been to PCD dinner, a great opportunity then afterwards just to connect on LinkedIn, to keep in touch, to be sharing material about things that are happening, visits that they're making, trends they're seeing in the marketplace. So I think the two things really complement each other in terms of if you've had a really good event, you've met people, to keep in touch through the social media platforms.
So I've noticed you loop it. So when I went to the dining club in London, you're attending, you're given a guest list in advance, so the full list of all the guests are there, the name, their title, the company. Then you can go onto LinkedIn, search for some of those people and say, hey, I'm going to be at the dinner, let's connect. And you've created a group chat on WhatsApp as well for every dinner. So there's some good tips here. I mean,
exactly. So I mean, all of our members are there interested in networking. So the bulk of them will follow on. They'll be on LinkedIn. But it's a given, I think, today that if you're a professional or in business in any capacity, to have a good quality LinkedIn profile reflective of your skills and experience and contacts.
What is a good LinkedIn profile?
It's essential. Well, it starts off with having a good headshot. It's
from 20 years ago?
Well, no, just something flattering but recent, but also recognisable. You've got to be able to say, if you saw that picture of someone, would you recognise them in a trade show or a conference, or is it reflective of where they are today? Quite a lot of people, I've got behind mine a little banner, a visual of your company logo. We even have our phone number, our website on there, because that snapshot banner is free space for you.
That's right.
So it's absolutely free for anyone who's on LinkedIn.
In fact, there's two lines now, isn't there? There's two lines you can use on LinkedIn that most people aren't using. With your name, what you can do with your title, and then there's an extra one that they're giving you now, where you can use some keywords to do your business, and most people are not using it.
So you're searchable, exactly. So a good profile does have the elements of a good headshot, has an accurate description of what your business is with the right keywords in there so that you can be found, with an accurate description of the sort of skills you can bring and the people you're seeking to meet. And I've found that, more and more people now have a very up-to-date and good-looking LinkedIn profile, but it's always worth going back over, making sure that your previous experience as well is reflective. Little extra bits of ask for recommendations if you've done business with someone in the past that wouldn't mind publicly recommending you. I think that's very powerful.
I think people don't do that. There's a lot of great people on LinkedIn I've come across, and then you go to the bottom of the page. There's no recommendations.
I think it's just the effort, the time. I mean, I've invested a lot of time looking at LinkedIn, so when it's a natural thing for me to go out and ask, particularly maybe sponsors that we've worked with and we've done a discrete bit of work in the past for. So it's very easy for them at that point to come and recommend you once the project is finished, and just to validate, because I think that people who are willing, the good thing about the recommendation element is that you get a snapshot of that person. So if you click, and if it's a CEO of a major company or a partner in a law firm, you know that referral comes with certain kudos. And then because it's a free form written text, people will get authentic. It's not a tick box approach. So I think people value them because it's an authentic few lines from someone where you can see their credentials. People don't use that, I think, because it hasn't occurred to them.
What about the other options like articles? linked to your profile, and maybe we could talk a bit about video. This is a video episode.
Articles massively powerful. I mean, there's since 2017 where LinkedIn crossed the 500 million user mark. 2017, so now it's more than that, more than 500 million users.
Wow.
I think only 1 million out of those 500 have actually published articles. So really a fraction of the audience have published an article on LinkedIn. And then that's reflective of my own experience when I ask people about whether they've utilized that function. They often haven't. And the great thing about that is that it goes beyond, you can link it to a status post, but it goes way beyond the amount of detail you can put in your sort of top line couple of hundred characters. It allows you to use multimedia as well, so you can write an article or reproduce an article that you've maybe written elsewhere, but include references with video, photos, all sorts of multimedia, and then you can look at the viewing statistics as well on that. So it's very easy to put together. It's a powerful tool, and I think that in order to get heard on LinkedIn, you need to have insightful content, not just a sort of simple like or a simple share or a recycle of someone else's. There's got to be an added value.
It's not Facebook, it's not Instagram, it's a completely different platform, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you just sit back a minute and you just think about the insight rather than just always clicking a like or clicking a reshare of a friend who has published something, always think about the value add on the, even if it's just a comment that you're sharing on top.
So don't forget to comment below.
Yeah.
But it works. You posted something just last week before we did this interview when you're coming to Dubai. You asked me very politely, look, can I link you in with the event that you're doing? We have a family business forum going on in Dubai this week. And off the back of it, you ended up with other people commenting.
Yeah.
I liked one of their profiles, and then we've linked since. So I believe commenting on people's posts is important. It's a level of engagement, isn't it? It's not just watch, like. It
is, and when I get people commenting on my posts, I always make the point of replying to that, even if it's simply to say thanks, because people have taken the time to read on and comment on your article. So you've got to do the work of making sure that they feel that you've been grateful for that. So moving on, videos. Yeah, videos.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on video content?
Well,
what's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that on LinkedIn, if you just see a statement which is a 1 line or 2 lines bit of text with a few hashtags, you think there's nothing about that that's grabbing your eye, even if it's very insightful. So LinkedIn is much more now about photo and increasingly video. Now that you've got the option to share native video, so that on an iPhone you can record something and then instantly share that, even if it's just a clip of your environment. If it's something, I find that video is just so eye-catching. If I'm traveling to Geneva and it's a lovely sunny day and you're down by the lake and you just do a pan around on video, you will get engagement that you don't get by just a simple writing the text of on the plane.
It's different to the other social platforms.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've got a different.
It's still corporate, it's still business content. It's not what you're doing at home on the sofa in the evening and a small little shot. It's not that type of platform, is it?
No.
Instagram is all about great images. It's having good quality images, and that's what people like on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tailoring the content for the platform, but I think that there's still an element of, you can show a lighter side on LinkedIn of the professional world. So if you are traveling somewhere, a little snap or a little video to tell people you're off to Dubai or you're off to. I think that people do appreciate that, but yeah, you're right. You're treading a line, and so back to your point. I mean, video is crucial on LinkedIn. You can do more and more just from your phone. There's lots of apps now to sort of subtitle video, to self-produce and quickly share content that is insightful and of the moment.
So with the time that we've got left, a little bit about you hang out with some unbelievable people, people who deal with high net worth individuals. What's the pulse of the economy, markets? What are you seeing? What's happening for 2020 for those of you watching this now in 2019? What can we get from this?
I think, In Europe, we've got a lot of really established companies in the wealth sector that are out there looking for growth, providing services in new markets, whether that's trying to tap into growth in Asia, here in the Middle East, in Africa. So the businesses that I deal with in the UK and Switzerland and elsewhere are all looking for growth outside their own markets. And I think that the world is getting smaller, as we were saying before about messaging apps like WhatsApp and social media platforms give us that sense that actually opportunity between business professionals is there and it is tangible. So from what I observe, people are interested in getting out there. The European economy is not growing at the rate of other markets, and so the professionals that I'm working with, it enables their business expansion through looking at new sectors.
Which markets globally do you see the next growth cycle for the next 7-10 years, while other markets may be on a decline?
I think we did a dinner in Shanghai in April, and that was fascinating. My first trip to mainland China. The Chinese economy is slowing. It's reported that growth, while still significant, has been slowing. But my sense from the corporate lawyers, the family offices based in Shanghai, was that they're advising some fantastic family businesses, entrepreneurs. They're interested in the knowledge that can be imparted from the West in terms of family business succession planning. There's a real impact in China of the one-child policy, of business owners coming to a certain age. They're looking down the line at how can they pass on these businesses they've built up, and using some of the planning techniques of the Western legal firms and Western knowledge, if you like. They're working together more collaboratively. So I think China is the most interesting market.
So where do you see your growth for your company when it comes to events and dinners?
Yeah, we get a lot of demand for events in Asia. So, Singapore, Hong Kong, Shanghai, all very popular centers. We launched in Miami in October. That was very popular for advisors in the Caribbean, dealing with Latin America as well. So I think there's great potential in lots of different markets, and the connectivity between those hubs is substantial. So we're excited about, the growth potential that's there. We can link any jurisdiction to another. So if the UAE starts building more with China, as it is doing, and more business is being done, we can pivot to all sorts of different markets to facilitate growth and connections and value between contacts. So yeah, we're optimistic about the future.
So before we talk a bit more about the future, don't forget to watch one of our other videos. We were talking about dinners earlier on. Links in beautifully with another video that we've got on this channel with Lois, the CEO of Legacy Mentors, and she'll give you her opinion on dinners. So don't forget to watch that video, okay? So future, next 10 years for Private Dining Club and your events, what's that going to look like? You're going to saturate every country in the world with dinners every month?
No. I think annual dinners in the key centres is going to be a mainstay of what we do. But here in Dubai, I'd love to do a bigger forum. I think Dubai has got the characteristics of being able to host fantastic conferences and events, and the way that it's so connected to lots of other different markets can perform that role. So we'd love to do something bigger in Dubai on a more global basis than we have done previously. I'm fascinated also by the digital marketing, by helping professional firms tell their story online through the channels that are there, through video, through written content, through meeting people. And so I think over the long term, our business will evolve into having a great live events platform, but also a lot of add-ons in terms of digital marketing, branding, and ultimately just helping them get out, be successful, and do more business, because that's what we're about.
Well, I wish you all the best. We definitely want to help you on the journey. For those of you watching, go and check out his website. Have a look at where the events are going on and the dinners are going on in the future. Become a member. How many members do you have now?
We've got 500 companies who are members, but we're growing every week.
Already members.
Yeah.
Great business.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Rich.
And thanks for joining us on the show.